Welcome to Behind the Lectern. Since 2006, your host, Jeff Klein, has been working with speakers at all levels. From beginners to Toastmasters International Award winners. From experts to National Speaker Association Hall of Famers. In each episode, Jeff introduces you to some of these speakers as you learn about their speaker journey, how they got started, where they came from, where they're going, and more. Take the lessons they have learned on their way to help you with your own path to make speaking work for you. Let's get started.
Hey everybody, Jeff Klein here again with another episode of the Behind the Lectern podcast and multicast. I'm excited to introduce you to today's guest, Erica Bigelow. Hi, Erica.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So glad you're here. Erica is the Living and Loving Life coach, and we're going to learn more about that during our talk today. She has she's always had a deep, overwhelming desire to help people, and she really hates to watch people struggle, and that's what drives her every day. So we're going to learn a lot more about that today as well. I am looking at livingandlovinglife.us, which is her website, where she offers a 30-minute consultation to see if she's the right coach for you. So we'll repeat that a couple more times while we're here, of course. Awesome. But first, when did you start? When was your first speech? How's that?
First speech.
It didn't have to do with what you're doing now. It could have been, earlier in life.
So I've always had like this niche of being in charge or taking charge of situations. So first speech to the first couple people, probably elementary school, not knowing what I was doing, just simply talking, but actually, planting seeds for people to want to be better.
Love it. I love it. Now, when did you recognize speaking was a way to help you with your life coaching practice?
Probably about 2 years ago.
Okay. And how did that come about?
Okay. So like I said, I didn't know what I was doing, but I had been doing it my whole entire life. And then now that I'm in the seat, I'm looking back at, events and stuff and was like, oh, wow, I actually been doing this a lot longer than I am saying, because I was doing it not only in my job, because I've always had a job title where either I was a lead or a manager or something where people would come to me for clearly professional advice, but it would always in turn be something personal for them.
Got it. Yeah, I understand that. I was networking long before I knew that it had a name and that it was a thing. I was doing it organically.
Right.
And I was
like
passing out business cards. Yeah.
Getting you ready for a place. Yeah.
Right. And of course that was, so 20 years before I was teaching it, I was actually doing it and just didn't recognize that it was a thing. Mm-hmm. I just thought I was, introducing myself to people.
Right. Exactly.
And asking them to introduce me to other people.
Right.
Which is what networking is, right?
Exactly.
But who knew, Mm-hmm. And then, so were you, so what kind of groups were you speaking to when you first realized you could promote your practice?
So all type of groups. Like I said, I was just talking, and it was my boss that got a lot of information from me, my sister, all of my friends, just random people, anybody that would listen. I had something to say, and I'm like, please just hear me for a minute.
So what about the first time there was an organized group that said, hey, Erica, would you please talk to us about what you're doing? When was the first time that happened?
So I would have to say that happened at my last job, just needing to hold, the meetings, having to get people back in line, just doing what I thought I was doing. But like you said, organically, it turned into me motivating people in that same, handling my job, all of the information that my boss wanted me to relay to the employees. But then at the end, somewhere in that meeting, I got to at least get in there with my stuff and just motivate people to want to be better, because my thought is the better you feel about yourself, the better employee you can be, the better husband, wife, child, everything. It just kind of bleeds into all aspects. So
Yeah.
I took a little 5 minutes of my own time and started to do my speech for them.
Got it. Well, and how did you start your coaching practice?
So clearly the pandemic happened. Probably like a lot of people, I was doing a job and I felt like I hit the glass ceiling. This is it for me. Like there's nowhere to go. You're at the highest, unless you're going to be the owner, you can't go anywhere higher than the position you are. But didn't feel like I was being fulfilled, or like I wasted a lot of my day because I wasn't giving out my potential of what I was supposed to do. So I started doing some research, looking around, and actually my sister was like, you know what, you would be really good at life coaching because you listen well, you have really good advice, and it's your thing. Like people just gravitate towards you and just want to start telling you their whole lives. And that's not normal because people are very secretive. They don't want to talk. But for whatever reason, someone sits with me, and by the end of that 20 minutes, I know their whole life and given them a couple assignments.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah.
And then did you go and look at any of the certifications or the training and stuff like that? Okay.
Yeah. So after I was like, you know what? So she was like, why don't you just try it and see? So what I did was I put myself out there and tried to just coach before, right? To see if it was something, okay, let's see.
Sure.
And the first couple people gravitated to me like nothing. I loved it. When I got off the call, I was like, oh my God, I found it. This is my seat. Like, you're home. Now let's perfect it. So then I did the certification and the training hours and all of that. And I'm still training just so the better I can be, the better I can be for everyone else.
Oh yeah. We're all always learning. I mean, I don't have there's not a certification attached with what I do, but I'm always, every week
Finding
there's some new information. I'm going on somebody's Zoom or somebody's webinar, trying to better better my offer and better myself and all that good stuff. So we're most of us in this category of helping other people are lifelong learners, and we understand that, that it's an ongoing thing, right? Yeah, for sure. So tell us about which organization you got certified through.
So I went through, it's called World Institute of Coaching. I did a niche of self-love and self-confidence, which was already my thing. But like you said, knowing as much information as possible is always good. So yeah, I went into the self-love confidence avenue, and I love it. I love every part of it.
So are you speaking how often are you speaking now?
So I do have a podcast, and that goes every Monday. It's Motivational Mondays. But other than that, I think I'm speaking at least about 2 to 3 times a week, Zoom calls, clients. I do monthly motivational speeches with a company, a big company. They have me come every month. So I'm doing it. I would like to have it more and more frequently.
Sure.
But I am fairly new about speaking in larger groups. Okay. So I do have that. I need to build that stamina and also that confidence. The more I speak, the more I feel like, it just comes out more smooth.
And how many of those every week are like at a room full of prospects as opposed to speaking to clients and stuff like that? So like a Rotary or a women's business group we're not doing enough of that yet?
No, not yet. I know, Jeff, we got to get together. So
okay. No, hey, I'm asking as a way for the people listening to learn. I'm not asking as a way to say, well, Erica, we help people do that. but we want, the beauty of this concept of the behind the lectern is for speakers by speakers, and you're a speaker, and you just haven't done it as many places as others. And we've got people on the show who have been, doing it for 35 years. And, and then there's other folks who've been doing it for 2. And that's why I wanted to do the show. So people could hear from both ends of the spectrum and
Right.
everything in between.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: when did it click for you that speaking was a way to promote your coaching practice?
Learning, getting in. I don't know how she connected with me, because I didn't look for her, but she came and found me, where I found you, as the Speaker Playhouse.
Okay.
Just having those kind of networking situations and learning from people that have been in the business for 35 years of what's the best way to get clients. How do I get myself out there so people can trust what I'm saying works? Those kind of things. So it's really, business moves. I'm trying to network, get across as many people as I can. Who knows who I'm going to, rub shoulders with and where it's going to take me.
We love Speakers Playhouse. Yeah,
I do.
Are you planning to be at the retreat here in Dallas in a few weeks?
No, I actually, since the COVID and everything, I kind of been off of the Speaker Playhouse. I usually go every Thursday. So I haven't even heard about the retreat. She must have mentioned this the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, well, they're doing a speakers retreat here in Dallas. It's an in-person event. But they've also, and I'm giving them another plug here, but they've also added a playing full out membership.
Oh wow!
Which I'm a member of, and
okay.
Again, that's another one of those things where people say, well, you've been speaking for what? I got to do the math. 18 years. Why are you why are you doing that? And it's because I want to get, always looking to get better, always looking to learn more.
Yeah.
And so that membership includes 2 monthly showcase calls where you can go on and speak for 10 or 15 minutes and get coaching and feedback.
Nice.
It includes all the drops, all the recordings of all the drops as part of the membership. It's a very cool program, and like I said, I opted in right away, and I think it's fair to say we're part of that community, the Speakers Playhouse community, which is, for those of you listening who don't know, it's a weekly 90-minute rock and roll Zoom. And I say rock and roll because Kimberly Howe, who leads it, is super high energy, and within that 90 minutes, 30 or more like 40 people tell us they've got a room and a place for speakers, whether that's a summit or a podcast like this, and then after that, 50 or 60 speakers showcase their topics and what audiences they're looking to get in front of. And we managed to throw in a breakout room and some educational opportunities in there as well. So it's a jam-packed 90 minutes. And I actually skipped yesterday, but that's the first time I missed in several months. It's well worth doing. It's worth the 90 minutes for sure.
Definitely.
Absolutely. And it's just a great community that we're learning from each other. It's why Erica's a guest on this podcast, because we met there. And then, did you do Potapalooza?
No.
Okay. That was another program that came out of that. But it's coming up again in March, so I would definitely look at signing up for that. Potapalooza is a full day of being on podcasts.
Oh, wow.
So they'll have 25 or 30 or more podcasters lined up to do interviews.
Oh, wow. And so you just
sign
do
up.
back to back.
Yep. Yeah.
Nice.
I did 4 at the first one. Wow. But I also had appointments for 2 more after that day. And while that's all going on, there are speakers teaching about podcasting and about things to do with podcasting in the general room. And then you go and when it's 1:00 and you've got a scheduled appointment to be on a show, you go and do that, and then you come back to the big room. And
nice.
Yeah, and they're doing it again in March, and we'll should definitely share the links in the show notes and stuff like that.
Awesome.
So that's like I said, it was, and I don't need guests, so I'm going to go on and get on other shows. Right. Other people want want to get more guests. So they choose the podcaster side, and they get 4 or 5 guests for the day. So it takes a little stamina to do 5 interviews in a day, but we do what we can do, right?
Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that, because there are days when I have back to back and I'm wondering, like, should I be a little tired, or is it okay to keep going? So
both are true. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay to be tired, and you can keep going.
Yeah.
There was a time when I spoke twice a week.
Okay.
That was the average for 2 years. I spoke twice a week.
Wow.
And twice a week is and that was in person. There was no Zoom. There was this was 2008 and 2009. It was all in person, miles on my butt in the car getting there. Sometimes it was being in an hour away at 7 o'clock in the morning, because that came with the territory, right?
Right.
And I don't recommend doing it 3 times in a day, although I did it a few times. And I don't recommend doing it 6 times in a week. I did that once or twice, and that was just too much.
It was a burnout for you.
Yeah. And you've got to have that energy when you're in front of the room.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I feed off the audience. Some speakers give all their energy away when they speak, and I the opposite. When I speak in the evening, I can't get to sleep at night. Because I'm still ramped up from speaking.
Yeah.
So again, those are things, and you learn.
To see what works for you. Yeah.
And what works for other people. I mean, that's how I created my Pathway to Profit system, to turn a 2-hour talk into customers and leads, because I spoke 250 times in a 3-year period, and I made a lot of mistakes.
Right.
But what I teach, Erica, is it's much, much less painful to learn from somebody else's mistakes.
Yeah. And I'm that type.
Yeah.
I like to watch and then see how someone else did it, and then just critique it to work for me. Yeah. I invent the wheel again.
I got the bruises, I got the heartache, I got the road rash.
Yeah.
And you don't have to.
Yeah. No, I get it. Especially because I feel the urgency of this topic for me is huge, especially with the world that we're living in now.
We so need you now. I'm telling you, even more than we did before COVID.
Yeah. It's just, like the world has done this crazy shift.
Well, and on the plus side, the world has shrunk.
Yeah. No, but in a shift in a good way. Like everybody has so many complaints about the COVID and, being at home and this and that. But honestly, I wouldn't be in this position that I'm in if it never happened. I wouldn't be able to do what I do from home if I wasn't forced to do it. So it actually was a good thing for me.
Very good. Yeah. And I had ups and downs because of it, but one of the benefits of it is that I'm now an international podcaster, and I've got an international. The website is international now.
Exactly.
I'd already spoken to an international audience in America. It was an international conference.
Right.
But one of my goals this year is to get paid to travel to speak at an international conference outside the U.S.
Nice. Yeah. And we get to meet people that we would have never been able to come in contact with. It's just, it's actually I see a lot more positive than clearly there is a lot of negatives, but
I agree with you.
Yeah. I love it.
And of course, in this current, your current career now, you won't be replaced by a robot.
That's funny. I never even thought of that, but very true. A robot can't do what we do.
No, which is funny in the sense that very early on in fake artificial intelligence, there was a program, and I wish I could remember what it was called, but it was an advice or counselor program. And you would type in, well, it wasn't, it was a computer. So it was a software program, and you would type in, would ask, how are you doing? And how does that make you feel? And all those leading psychology questions. And it was so funny. And this was something we played with like one person in high school had a computer at their house.
Right.
And this was one of the things we played with on their computer.
Wow.
Like at parties, it was like, and it's so funny that I thought of that because it was a fake artificial counselor.
Yeah.
Not that counseling is counseling and coaching are very different. Let me let you expand on that. Tell folks the difference between counseling and therapy and coaching.
So counseling is dealing with the past. Coaching is dealing with the present and moving forward.
Okay.
So basically recognizing what the issues are, why you were there or here, and then just moving yourself forward from how do we move forward with that information.
Well, and let me submit this and you tell me if it doesn't click with you. Counseling is also about getting it, counselors ask more questions than give answers. And coaches give potential that you help your clients figure it out on their own, but you still make suggestions. Whereas a therapist doesn't make as many suggestions as a coach would.
Well, so I'm going to have to go against that a little bit.
That's fine. Yeah, it's only an opinion. Yeah.
Not to give answers, because then I'm imposing my thoughts or what works for me onto you.
Okay.
Which may not work for you. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what they do is to ask open-ended questions or good questions that will have people thinking in a way that can be like an aha, like, oh, okay. So it's more of I think it's the different type of questions.
Okay. Well, and maybe I'm thinking more business coach than life coach.
Not even in business coach, period. As a coach, they tell you, do not tell somebody what to do. And actually in my contracts, it says, what I say is just my advice. Don't take it for, Erica said I have to do. That's not, please no. But what it is it's just that there's certain questions that are asked to open thought processes that are not really open for some people.
Okay. Well, I'm glad I asked this. I'm glad I asked that because I'm glad we could talk to people about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I think they go pretty much parallel.
Okay.
I think because a lot of times with my clients is they'll come to me struggling with something like not happy with their job or having a problem with their relationship. And then we find out that there's some inner issues that haven't been addressed or in their subconscious that they kind of forgot about, but is showing up in their worlds now.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
so it's
good,
actually very interesting and every day is something different. It's never the same, Right. So
right.
I like it.
Oh, it's certainly rewarding for the right people.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
That would be, sorry about that. Wow. Yeah, and I can't turn it off because the phone is on our connection to Clubhouse. So we're also recording the audio of our conversation for Clubhouse. So it has to be able to hear. So anyway, that's why I call this a multicast, because I wanted to experiment. And so far we haven't had anybody ask questions through the Clubhouse, but that's a yet. We've only had a few episodes, and
right.
The whole concept for this part of what we're doing right now, we're recording episodes live on Zoom and on Clubhouse.
Nice.
And I'll let you know when your episode will air, so you can tell your friends and all that good stuff as well. So tell me about your podcast.
So my podcast is called Living and Loving Life, basically helping people become the best versions of themselves. So people that can't afford it financially or not sure that they want to do life coaching or kind of in between, it's a place for them to come and just get little tools and gems to help them become the best versions of themselves.
Cool. You bring in guests?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Cool. Mm-hmm. Very good.
Yeah.
And how many episodes are you on now?
I've recorded about 30 and I've already put out, I think this is maybe my 9th. I started in October, so maybe about like my 10th or 12th
Once a week
episode.
every
Wednesday.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
And which podcast program, what are the resources you're using for that?
Anything. You can find it on Apple Music, Spotify.
I meant what are you which service are you using to get you out on everything?
Buzzsprout.
Okay. Buzzsprout. Okay, cool.
Yeah, Buzzsprout is pretty good because it connects everything for you. Everything's one place. Somebody gave me that advice, so I'll pay it forward. That would be a good place if you don't have like a platform where you're gonna podcast out of. They watch your stats, everything. It's pretty. You should look into it for sure.
Good. Well, that's one of the things. Pardon my roommate. One of the things we want to do here at Behind the Lectern is help share resources with our audience. So we shared Speakers Playhouse, Potapalooza, that Speakers Retreat, and of course Buzzsprout. And if you have an affiliate link for Buzzsprout, send it over to me, and I'll include it in the show notes. So if people go check out Buzzsprout and decide to use it, you get credit for it. So that's another thing that is important to me, and is the affiliate thing. We finally, after being in business for having the website up for 16 years, finally have an affiliate program.
Nice.
I always had one that wasn't automated, and now I have an automated affiliate program. So I don't have to manage. I just send people the link, and then they go and tell other people about the website. And when people join based on their recommendation, they get paid. So and I encourage other coaches to have, again, whether it's official automated or whether you just tell people, when you refer a friend, you get a free month, or whatever the case may be. So that's always important. What else should we talk about, Erica, about what you're doing to help folks?
Whatever you like.
What are some of your goals when it comes to speaking for living and loving life?
So my goal is to be in front of a huge audience and being able to touch as many people as possible in a short amount of time. Because, the one-on-one coaching is one. But so I would like, if my vision sees like maybe once a month going out and doing a speech, wherever that is, and, expanding that way.
Okay. Who is your niche? Who are you? Who resonates with Erica? Who, that we hear this podcast and we go, well, I have a friend who needs your help. What would give us clues that you're the person for that friend? So I
hate to minimize myself because I feel like I need to get everywhere, but I would say my group is anywhere from like 25 to 45.
Okay.
Women professionals that are in a situation where they feel stuck or don't really know what direction to go now.
Okay.
But I also don't want to exclude men. I don't have a lot of men clients. I probably have about 5 or 6, but I think everybody needs that self-love and confidence.
Well, that's true.
To come into themselves, regardless men or women,
Sure.
So I hate to say it's just women.
Well, no, but the
self-love.
The thing we do when we talk about target audience, we make choices.
Right.
And those choices are where we're going to spend our time, money, and effort first.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to turn down a client who shows up,
right?
Usually, but we have to make choices because there's only 24 hours in a day.
Exactly.
And we don't want to be awake all 24 of those hours.
I think I'm having. So I've heard this before, like multiple times. I think with you, when we had our thing, is like I need to just have a target audience, but then for some reason my heart is like, but what about the other people? But
well, here's
you're right.
Think about it this way: creating a target audience is not about excluding other people.
Right.
it's about focusing on the people you can help the most now.
Mm-hmm. So the target audience can change, is what you're saying.
Absolutely. And you can have three. You should, I mean, I talk about having three of them.
Okay.
You know, so the one we're
But then
starting
if
with.
you have three of them, what's to say where you put majority of your time in? How do you designate them?
That's why you start with one, and you have campaigns and programs for the one. And then once those are running, you can start a campaign or a program for the second one.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think I feel better about that.
Yes. And then you're not trying to reach too many people at one time.
Mm-hmm.
You wait until your machine is working, and then you add another sector.
Got it.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And I wouldn't go past three.
Okay. Yeah.
Because by the time you get the third one up and running, it'll be time to revisit the first one.
Got it.
Yeah.
And how often do you revisit your program, like your systems?
It kind of depends on the results. You know, if you're getting really, really good results, some people say, well, spend more money there and get more of those. But sometimes as a practitioner, we want to deal with a different set of problems as in our daily work. And so as a heart-centered person, sometimes we need to work with a different set of problems to maintain our energy.
Exactly.
So sometimes your heart will tell you when it's time to find some more from different people.
Yeah, it's in you. That's the thing, and I love that, because just that simple thing, everything is in you. Anything you need about your whole entire life, whatever that is, it's in you. If you are aware and mindful of it, it answers.
That's for sure.
So you're right. Awesome.
Yeah. And then of course, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say that your first addressing your first avatar, your first niche of younger career women. There are associations of women of every profession. You know, so there's the women engineers, there's women in IT, women attorneys, women in architecture, women in accounting, you name it, there's an association for that. And that would be... So an association
just means you're a part of something?
No, what an association it means is they have monthly events. So if it's a happy hour, you can go to that event and network. If it's a lunch, it's an event you can go and speak.
How do you get to be part of these groups?
Google.
Okay.
Google and Meetup. I mean, you search them out. So if you type in Women's Association, where are you based again?
Las Vegas.
Okay, so if you typed in Women's Association Las Vegas, you'll get a lot of convention results. But you'll also get the Las Vegas Association of Women in Engineering, or the Las Vegas Association of Women in Hospitality.
And then how does one become somebody that they call to talk to?
You have to reach out and pitch them in this situation. You have to say, hey, who first of all, you start with who plans your monthly lunches, or who invites the speakers to your monthly lunches. And the first thing they'll usually come back with is, well, we don't pay our speakers. What do you want? And it's like, well, I'm willing to waive my fee for the right room full of people.
Okay.
You know, and again, I'm teaching a little bit of what we talk about at Speaker Co-op. It's not about speaking for free. It's about being willing to waive your fee because you want to be.
You need to give out to get.
Yeah, well, but they'll never pay a speaker.
But that's not the point. The point is to go there and get clients.
Right, but by positioning yourself as somebody who is sharing value, not giving away. You're not giving it. You're waiving the fee instead of being for free.
So the proper words.
Yeah, the money doesn't change.
Right.
But your positioning does, and professionalism. And here's another part of it, Erica. Make sure they're thinking of you as somebody who gets paid, not as somebody who does this for free.
That's the reason for saying I'll waive my fee.
Correct. And
because
that's also
the value.
Yeah. And that's also when you get the speaking engagement, then you're also going to offer a book or a webinar or something people will buy, so that they think of Erica as somebody they pay for help, not get help for free.
Okay.
I know the coachings people teach you to do the free consultation, which does work. It is a workable program, but you also have to make sure you qualify the people for the free consultation.
So before I'm handing out free consultation, I need to do like a qualifying form?
Well, it has to do with what you say to them. And I've learned, I learned some of this from some very successful coaches, and it's saying things like, I only work with people that I can help. And the point of this consultation is for us to decide if we want to work together. And if the consultation goes well, at the end of the 30 minutes, I'm going to tell you how you can hire me to help you.
Okay, yeah. So I already kind of say that for my clients now, is like, I do offer the first 30-minute consultation to see if this is a good fit for you, and life coaching is something that you would like to invest in. Right.
And that's an important word. Yeah. Remembering,
because then it gives that money value.
Yeah. Remembering to include words like invest and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And some of this, again, some of this maybe just be a reminder, and some of it may be new, and some of it may be stuff you've heard before. But it's all about positioning. And one thing that a lot of coaches either forget or aren't comfortable with is remembering that they're in business.
I know, I have that problem, and I had it from the beginning, because I'm like, everybody's pro bono, and I'm like, so on my laptop I have, do you want a hobby or a business?
Good for you.
Just to keep in my head, like, this has to be financially okay to do, or you will not be able to transition all the way to this completely. It just has to be what it is.
Yeah, that's really important.
Yeah.
And what I had to do was remind myself that I owe it to the people to give them the opportunity to buy. That if I don't, because they need my help, and if I don't tell them how I can help them, then they won't get the help. So by not offering a sale, by not offering to pay me to help them, I'm ripping them off, because they're missing out because I'm not offering it.
Yeah.
If they miss out because they choose not to take advantage of it, that's not on me.
Okay.
But if they miss out because I didn't offer,
that's on
I'm doing them a disservice.
Yeah. It was a hard thing for me.
Yeah, I understand.
Even just bringing up the money part, it was hard.
Yeah, it was for me too.
So after a while, you're saying it got easier?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And what's funny is I grew up in retail, and I learned I was always a great closer in retail. Cash or charge. You're ready. Let's
take care of it.
Do you need batteries with that? Let's go to the register and let's find a purse to match the shoes.
Yeah.
And let's get you some polish so the shoes will always look good. I mean, I was great at closing and selling on the retail floor. But when it came to selling services, I was less comfortable making the offer. And I would also devalue. Well, this usually costs $3,000, but for you today, and you really have to stick to your guns. Yeah, and I slip. I have the occasional slip.
Still?
Yeah. But the way I slip now is by not charging enough.
Yeah.
But I
But
do.
that's
But I tell everybody it's not. I can't do 0.
yeah.
But and I raised some prices just as COVID was hitting, and I have not gone back and reduced them.
Nice. Yeah, I just raised my price up a little bit too.
Yeah.
It's just and then when they say, yeah, sure, I'm so surprised. I'm like, you're sure the price is fine? In my mind.
Well, and that's okay. So here's a sales lesson for everybody. When you ask, once somebody said, you got to shut up when you make the offer.
Right. And that's it. You're done.
The first person who talks next loses.
Yeah.
And when they say yes, the only words out of your mouth next should be thank you and how do you want to pay for that?
Mm-hmm.
Not are you sure?
Or when are we? Yeah, no. And
I know you don't say it.
It's in my brain though.
In your head, you go boo, boo.
Yeah. And I'm like, shut up. We're handling this. But no, I'll say, okay, I'll send you the welcome packet, and we'll see you back next week at this time. Blah blah blah. To shut it, so there's no time to think, and maybe that's what they taught in school too. Is make sure before you hang up, you have the scheduled appointment for
the next step. Yep. And I do that. It's like, when do you want to do your first strategy session?
Yeah.
So,
okay, awesome.
So what else should people know about Erica before we end our podcast today?
So yeah, if you are looking to get out of a situation where you're stuck and you just don't feel like you have direction, I feel like I'm your person. I try to be as positive as possible and as motivating as possible, and just that support system that people need.
Okay, and we will share your links for the free consultation in the show notes. And again, the consultation is a sales conversation ultimately.
Mm-hmm.
If you're ready for coaching, which means you're ready to pay somebody to help you, then you should have some consultations with some coaches.
Yep.
So what do you like best about your coach? Who you're working with a coach as well?
Yes. And I would say she is me, already done this for a while.
Okay.
I feel like we vibe very well. We're kind of on the same page. And that's usually, I think, that's what I feel is the best way to be with your coach, is so that it goes smoother versus bumping heads and trying to make somebody think something else or do something else.
Yeah, opposites probably don't attract when it comes to coaching.
Not in this way. No.
Good. I'm glad I asked, because I also wanted to mention to people, my biggest advice for people when they're looking for a coach, and I do a lot of coach referrals, don't hire a coach who doesn't have a coach.
Yeah. Absolutely, because then you don't know the meaning or the value or how did you
or whatever. Yeah, there's a long list of reasons or a short list of reasons why they don't have a coach.
Right.
Hire a coach who has a coach, like Erica Bigelow.
Exactly. Please reach out. I'm here. That's what I'm here for. So I will be available.
And it's the Living and Loving Life podcast. And the website is livingandlovinglife.us. And there's a button there for the free complimentary consultation to see if you want to hire Erica, and if Erica's willing to be hired by you. Because that's part of it too, right? You only want to work with what's beautiful about.
I've had to fire clients before.
Yeah.
Because I refuse to take people's money if we're not moving along and you're really, committed to the process, because there's no point. I could have that space for somebody that really is committed and wants to move forward. And
that's a huge growth thing for you as a business person.
Yeah.
Is to recognize that and not be so desperate. You need their money more than they need your help.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Exactly. So super. All right. Well, this has been Behind the Lectern with Erica Bigelow. Thank you so much, Erica, and we will see you around the podcasts.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thanks for joining us on Behind the Lectern. You can find an archive of our episodes at behindthelectern.com. You can also access useful speaking information at speakercoop.com/education. Join us next time for another great speaker journey with an expert and our host, Jeff Klein. We'll catch you next time.